Welcome to the third episode of WarWeekly. It's been a busy week and, the funny president of the United States still makes the headlines. He's told to close something which is already closed, and so the absurdity of it is then conveyed, and you feel like being the spectator of a soap opera. Same is with the negotiations.
Well, it looked like Trump was trying to save face by engaging the Iranians to have negotiations through Pakistan. But again, they were done in bad faith. Within a day of their announcement, Israel dropped more bombs than they've ever dropped on Lebanon, 160 within 10 minutes. The Iranians said, "Oh, that was a known condition," and Vance said, "Oh, I didn't know. We didn't really cover that. We didn't know that wasn't in the term." So already from within a day, or even the same day, it was shown to be in bad faith, and then the negotiations took place, and the Iranians basically said, "We don't trust the Americans." JD Vance was said to have some rapport with the Iranians, but then Kushner and Witkoff came in the room, and with instructions from Bibi, and then Bibi was calling Vance during negotiations, and then they went nowhere. So the Iranians have a really hard time ever trusting the Americans given this track record. Another big story in the news is that the U.S. has put a naval blockade on all the Iranian ports. They've also said that any ship that's paid Iran the $2 million fee per tanker will be blocked by the Americans. And it appears to me this is an attempt to stifle the economy, as 90% of the goods in and out of Iran by sea. So it's a way to bring an economic collapse, similar to what the U.S. was just doing in Cuba. If you collapse the economy, civil unrest, and then the government can be overthrown. So it looks to me like this is an attempt to overthrow the government through an economic collapse, inducing an economic collapse through a naval blockade. This whole idea of blocking ships that have paid Iran again puts the U.S. in confrontation with foreign interests that are trading with Iran. So it's sort of the thing that two wrongs don't make a right. I think this is really foolish action. It further isolates the U.S. by coming down on Iran like this.
But isn't it a way to put pressure on Iran when you're negotiating? Because, yes, you mentioned it. I mean, good intentions are probably not easy to prove, but force can be an argument in a negotiation.
I think it makes sense to block the ports, but it doesn't make sense to tax the ships that have paid Iran the fee. I mean, let's say you're some trader from Malaysia, you send a ship to get some oil there, and then you have to pay the Iranians to get the thing cleared through the straits, and then the Americans are hassling you on top of that. It just that part of it really doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's really provoking everybody.
The point is that then no ship goes through the strait, obviously, because when they learn that doesn't help, nobody will go there. So international trade, yes, is of course very much under stress because of this, but this helps the United States as they control the oil and other raw material coming from the United States and probably from Venezuela and other places, and Canada is also quite close. So in a way, compared to the other regions, the region of North America might become stronger this way. Isn't this the deal he wants to do? Isn't it about pushing the United States forward?
To me, it doesn't make any sense, but it could be that he's thinking if he collapses the government through blocking all the ports, and then the U.S. then becomes the authority collecting a toll through the straits. Trump did allude to that a few times to journalists that, hey, they shouldn't get the $2 million a ship, we should get it. So that could be the thought behind it, but either way, it seems very impulsive and unthought through.
Yeah, but you see my point, half of the oil going to China is coming from Iran. So if he blocks that strait with the ships going to China, then he will harm China's economy. And in comparison, even though, the United States might be weakened too, China might be more weakened than the United States. Don't you see this point that, it is not just about winning yourself, but it's also about making the others lose.
Yeah, but China holds more cards than the U.S. For example, a few days ago, they blocked all shipments of sulfuric acid out of China, which is a key ingredient in agriculture as well. So if the U.S. tries to play balls with China so much as it is now, China can simply cut off certain key materials that will bring not just the U.S. but the whole world economy to its knees. So I just think this is the global economy is too entangled, and we're such a big trading partner with China for so many things. We can't risk playing Russian roulette with them. I mean, they will destroy us, and they have the industrial base. U.S. does not have the industrial base, so it's a losing strategy.
That is the point. I think this is what we also discussed the other times. We clearly see here a strategy of escalation, which is the point I made earlier in the other shows, that probably it's not about winning anything, not even about making lose the United States, but about creating a more general conflict, a more global conflict, so the tension rises and there will be the ground laid for a new world order. I mean, this is what I see, because as you mentioned, it seems the negotiations are bogus, and the intention of peace isn't really very convincing in the actions undertaken by the United States and Israel. You see the opposite strategy, which is a strategy of escalation and aggression, both in economic warfare, information warfare, and we shouldn't forget, of course, real kinetic war. So what this means to me is that this will take a lot of time, and we might have a continuation of COVID 2.0. In France, for instance, the gas at the station for your car is rationed. So it will continue this way and achieve the point where citizens can't even move around anymore.
Yeah, it does seem like we're getting COVID lockdowns, but in a different way.
It's funny because everybody expected, in my friends and everybody, that there will be climate lockdowns, and now we have this, which is like the exact same thing but differently, framed.
We're seeing the same policy being pushed on us under different names and different terms, different slogans. So we had lockdowns under COVID for virus, but now we're having energy shortages with the closing of the Straits of Hormuz. We could have a climate rationale for restricting human life, but basically the agenda looks like to bring people to their knees, economically strangle them, make them more dependent and poor, and live a more meager life. I mean, this net zero concept is so silly just on the name of the term. I mean, that you would be a zero, you're going to live as zero. Nothing's ever zero. If we were net zero, we'd all be dead.
Yeah. I'm always reading that meme. You are the carbon we want to eliminate. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because at the same time there's a kind of gamification of reality. I just mentioned there are movies like Saving Private Ryan, but there are soap operas like The President and the White House. But then there are games like the Poly Market, which is in fact you can bet on anything in the war. And there were, of course, then insider trading stories, people working for the Institute of War who were moving the frontiers just to win a bet. It's in fact just an example of how distance is given. There is, of course, robbery of the regular citizen. We are put in danger by these escalating strategies, and then you have a bet, and if the rocket falls at the right day, you might win or you might lose, and it becomes like a soccer game. It is just a game. You can die, you can live. Your family might have no gas anymore, no heating anymore. But it's a game. This is what I think is conveyed by this. And this is materialized by a pop-up event in DC where they had a situation room. Everybody could have a beer and see, news and the wars on big screens and see how their bets are evolving, whether they will win or lose. It's okay that the son of the president, Donald Trump Jr., is in the board of the poly market in the United States, and Peter Thiel, who, of course, is known for Palantir and one of the biggest contractors of the Secret Services. If you have these people involved in this game, putting up bets, then it means it's a tool of surveillance too. They can see, of course, if insider trading is happening, who is using secret information to do it. There are cases of people from the Israeli army who placed a bet. Regular users can't really see who's betting on what, but Secret Service can, because people have to give an ID to the platform, but also the wallets, even though they might not be openly attached to a name, can be traced to a name quite openly very often. So it is, in fact, also a game which can be used against the people. The real bet on the suffering of others is, of course, happening with derivatives and the stock markets, because there you can see real money made, putting on companies who would profit from war or the suffering of others, as well as you can, of course, give out put options. Predictive markets are a way of looking inside your own population to see what they think, what they feel, what the bets are, how they see the news. It's the best way of having opinion polls, because then people put money to what they think and what their guess is. And it's, in fact, more than just a marketing tool. It is, in fact, a tool of seeing how people perceive what is really happening.
The Trump administration has been rife with poly market bets since it began this second term, which really shows the level of malfeasance and corruption that it should be prosecuted. There's been a number of bets that were clearly made by insiders with knowledge. Trump sends out these tweets a lot of the times to manipulate the markets, and really appears to be personally betting on that, it seems like, or people around him are. I mean, literally there'll be bets, he'll make a tweet, and then profits made. This has happened over 100 times now in the last 9 months or so. So it's quite concerning.
So it is really important that this is all integrated in the same machine. They're not different entities. It is, in fact, all managed by the same people, often generals.
Great. Well, thanks, Robert, and reporting this week for War Weekly. And we're sure to have another fun week to come.
Thanks for watching. Please support us.